Hello MotoGP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP today. After another strong showing at Brno, Marquez kept the spotlight firmly on his physical rehabilitation and the step-by-step process of regaining strength. The Ducati rider emphasized patience, realistic short-term goals, and the mental resilience that has carried him through repeated injuries. His words reflect a rider who knows the value of pacing himself in a sport where pushing too hard, too soon, can undo months of progress. Bagnaia emerged from Friday practice at Brno with renewed optimism, his trademark smile returning after the Czech circuit's freshly laid, high-grip asphalt largely neutralized the rear-end instability that has plagued his season. The Ducati rider, who has often spoken of struggling to ride, naturally, due to sliding at the back, found that Brno's surface allowed him to exploit the full potential of the Desmas set-aside GP. He finished the day in fourth place, nestled between Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marquez, a result that suggests Ducati has made meaningful progress heading into qualifying. Aprilia's Jorge Martin missed Q2 at Brno by 0.011s and blamed a persistent lack of front-end grip for losing the spark needed in his time attack. Carrying 2 long lap penalties from Hungary, Martin says his physical condition on the bike is better than expected, but recurring front tire problems have undermined his confidence in qualifying trim. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Marquez explained that each race weekend is part of a broader rehabilitation program. Training sessions in the gym, physiotherapy, and time on the bike all contribute to slowly rebuilding muscle strength and endurance. He pointed to Mugello as a benchmark, where his physical limitations were most evident, and suggested that Brno's right-hand bias would provide a clearer picture of his current condition. The more time passes, the more training you accumulate and the more progress you make. For Marquez, recovery is not about sudden leaps but about stacking small gains. Each lap is treated as data, a way to measure how his arm responds, how fatigue sets in, and how his riding style adapts. Rather than promising podiums, Marquez set pragmatic expectations. Finishing in the top 5 or 6 would be a success given his recovery stage. He stressed that the key is closing the gap to the leaders gradually, not forcing results that could risk another setback. Right now, a top 5 or top 6 finish would be a good result. This realism is a hallmark of Marquez's current approach. By lowering the pressure, he allows himself to focus on execution and consistency, rather than chasing glory at the expense of health. Marquez was candid about the mental battles he has faced. He admitted that without the psychological resilience forged through years of injury and recovery, he might have quit. Instead, he sees mental toughness as the foundation that allows him to keep fighting while his body catches up. Mentally, I am stronger than ever, otherwise I would have thrown in the towel. In elite sport, mental recovery often runs parallel to physical rehab. Marquez's ability to reframe setbacks as part of the process is what keeps him competitive even when his body is not yet at full strength. Marquez dismissed questions about long-term ambitions or career changes. He insisted his only priority is recovery, and using every lap to improve. Ambitious targets will come later, once his body allows him to push without fear of re-injury. No. Right now I'm not thinking beyond that. My job is to keep recovering, keep building. This narrow focus is strategic. By refusing to look too far ahead, Marquez reduces external pressure and keeps his energy directed at the immediate task of regaining fitness. Beyond his own recovery, Marquez reaffirmed his role in Ducati's development program. He confirmed participation in the upcoming 850 cubic centimeters Ducati test, where he will provide feedback to both Ducati and Pirelli. His experience is invaluable in shaping the next generation of machinery and tires, especially during regulation changes. Veteran riders like Marquez are crucial in bridging the gap between engineering theory and race day reality. His input will help Ducati and Pirelli anticipate how the new bikes behave under extreme conditions. Marquez's reflections show a rider who has learned to value patience. He compared riding to skiing, a skill you never forget, but acknowledged that physical fitness is the missing piece that allows him to fully exploit his speed. Simply being able to fight with the leading riders again is a positive sign, even if the podium remains a short-term stretch. Marquez's journey is a reminder that recovery in MotoGP is not linear. It requires balancing ambition with caution, and recognizing that resilience is as much about restraint as it is about aggression. Marc Marquez's Brno weekend reinforced the cautious optimism. His speed is returning, but recovery remains the priority. By setting realistic goals, leaning on mental strength, and contributing to Ducati's future development, Marquez is building a foundation for sustainable success. If he continues to progress without setbacks, the combination of regained fitness and psychological resilience could see him transform promising pace into podiums, and eventually, a return to title contention. Bagnaia was effusive in his praise for Brno, calling it a fantastic track that embodies the old-school character MotoGP riders crave. Unlike Balaton Park, which he criticized as too slow and limiting, Brno's sweeping corners and elevation changes allow riders to push a 1,000 cubic centimeters MotoGP machine to its limits. The high grip levels mean riders can lean aggressively and carry speed with confidence, producing the kind of visceral racing experience that Bagnaia relishes. You feel that you are putting 63 degrees in every corner. Lean angles above 60 degrees are extreme even by MotoGP standards, highlighting how Brno's surface encourages riders to explore the outer boundaries of performance. Bagnaia explained that his fundamental issue this season has been a lack of rear grip, in contrast to Di Giannantonio, whose problem is the rear pushing the front. At Brno, however, the circuit's grip levels masked much of his difficulty. On the medium rear tire, he still felt some instability in certain corners, but switching to the soft rear compound transformed the bike's behavior, allowing him to ride instinctively and with confidence. As soon as I put the soft, it disappears. Tire choice is often the single most decisive factor in MotoGP performance. For Bagnaia, the soft compound's ability to stabilize the rear could be the difference between fighting for podiums and struggling to stay in the top 10. Ducati's engineers introduced previously untested settings during Friday practice, and Bagnaia reported that the changes provided a tangible improvement. The team's willingness to experiment at Brno reflects the circuit's reputation as a real track, where setup adjustments can be properly evaluated. Bagnaia believes the steps taken on Friday will serve as a foundation for further gains in FP2 in qualifying, with margins still available in his lap times. Brno's combination of long corners and elevation changes magnifies handling differences, making it an ideal venue for testing subtle setup tweaks that might be less noticeable elsewhere. Bagnaia acknowledged that Aprilia currently holds the upper hand, with AI Ogura and Marco Bezzecchi topping the timesheets on Friday. Nevertheless, he expressed confidence that Ducati is closing the gap. His fourth-place finish, achieved without a fantastic lap, suggests there is still room to improve. Bagnaia's optimism reflects both the progress made with the front end of the bike this season and the relief of finding a circuit where rear grip is less of a limiting factor. Brno's high grip surface levels the playing field, but Aprilia's consistency across different tracks remains a benchmark Ducati must match. Brno's resurfaced asphalt has given Pecco Bagnaia a reprieve from the rear grip struggles that have defined his 2026 campaign. The soft rear tire, combined with Ducati's experimental setup work, allowed him to ride more naturally and finish Friday practice in a competitive position. If Ducati can replicate that confidence over race distance or engineer a solution that stabilizes the rear on medium rubber, Bagnaia could be a genuine contender for Q2 and a strong race result. For a rider who has often lamented feeling constrained by his bike, Brno offers a rare chance to unleash his full potential and perhaps reignite his championship challenge. Martin was competitive through practice but could not produce the decisive lap in the final runs. He described feeling really low front grip throughout the session and said that, although he was improving each run, he never found the extra edge required to break into the top 10. When I went into time attack, I didn't have that spark to push. Missing Q2 by a few thousandths underlines how small handling or tire issues can swing grid positions at Brno. Physically, Martin reports feeling better than expected and says he has no on-bike limitations, despite off-track soreness. The problem is technical, a loss of front confidence that prevents him from committing in time attack runs even when his fitness is sufficient. Riders can feel fit yet be hampered by confidence deficits caused by inconsistent front grip. Restoring trust in the front tire is often a setup and tire choice exercise. Martin and Aprilia say the front-end issue has recurred over several rounds, Mugello, Balaton and now Brno, and remains unexplained. The team plans further analysis overnight to identify whether tire behavior, setup or electronics are the root cause. Persistent, track-dependent front problems typically require cross-checking telemetry, tire data and suspension settings across multiple circuits. Martin used the long lap penalty lane several times in practice to test grip and race lines. He said he was initially told the green painted area was allowed, then told it wasn't after other teams objected, which disrupted his runs. He estimates each long lap costs about 1.5 seconds and believes Brno's lane is one of the quicker long lap configurations. Practice use of the long lap lane helps riders understand time loss and refine race strategy when penalties must be served. Martin expects a better Saturday and believes the situation can be fixed with targeted work. Tomorrow will be another story. Everything will come back to normal. Still, missing Q2 complicates his weekend because the double long lap penalties will make any recovery in the race more difficult. The team's priority is to restore front confidence and find a qualifying setup that lets Martin attack. If front grip returns, Martin's racekraft and pace could still deliver a strong result. If not, the penalties and compromised grid position will make podium chances slim. Jorge Martin's Brno Friday was defined by a technical confidence issue rather than fitness. The narrow Q2 miss highlights how marginal handling problems can have outsized sporting consequences, especially when combined with race penalties. Overnight analysis and a successful qualifying setup will be decisive. Restore the front-end feel and Martin can still salvage a strong weekend. Fail to do so, and the long lap penalties will likely limit his race prospects. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!